Somewhere in midlife, most of us hit a moment where we realize that we have spent years, maybe even decades, being who everyone or life needed us to be. But who are we? This week, I am talking about the Enneagram and why midlife might actually be the perfect time to learn more about yourself with this amazing tool. Not the version that you have been playing or performing, but the real version of yourself. Welcome back to the Seasons of Joy podcast. I am so glad you're here. My name is Jill Pack, and this is episode number 201, entitled Who Am I Now? Using the Enneagram to Find Yourself in Midlife. So I wanted to start today with a question, and it's this: who are you? Not what you do, not your roles, not I'm a mom or I'm a wife or I'm the one who keeps everything running. I mean you, the person underneath all of that. If you're in midlife and that question made you pause for a second, or maybe you felt a little uncomfortable, then you are in the right place today. I think that the midlife season is an important time to ask ourselves this question. The kids are grown or almost grown. Your career has maybe began to change. The roles that you've carried for decades are beginning to shift. And you find yourself standing in this strange, quiet space going, now what? And also, who even am I? There were many years in my life where I didn't know the answer to that question, not because I haven't lived enough life, but because I had spent so much time of that life focused outward, on the things outside of me, on what was needed, on performing the version of myself that helped me fit where I was in that moment. And it wasn't until I started doing some serious inner work on myself that I started to understand myself in a way that actually changed things for me on the inside. And one of the tools that I have used is the Enneagram. So I thought it would be fun to talk about it today. I am not in any way an Enneagram expert, but I wanted to introduce you to it. We are going to discuss what it is, why midlife might be the perfect time to explore it, and how it can help you stop running from yourself and start living from yourself. So let's dive in. What is the Enneagram? Well, if you're brand new to the Enneagram, let me give you a quick overview. It isn't going to be a deep dive, but it will be just enough to help us be on the same page through this discussion. The Enneagram is a personality framework. It's a typing system made up of 9 different types. Now, I'm sure you have probably taken a personality test or two in your life, like the color code, Myers-Briggs, maybe the 16 personality factors, etc. I think that they're all fascinating, but I really like the Enneagram, and I believe it's different. Most personality frameworks tell you what you do. The Enneagram goes a little deeper and asks why you do it. It's less interested in your behavior and more interested in your motivation, your fears, your core desires and longings, the thing you've been unconsciously living your whole life around. Now, it can feel uncomfortable, but it brings an insight that can be transformative. Each of the 9 types has a core fear and a core desire. And once you discover yours, you'll start recognizing it everywhere. You will notice it in how you respond when you are stressed. You'll see it in what you lean towards when life feels out of control. You will notice it in the patterns that keep showing up in your relationships, no matter how many times you try to change them. It's important to understand that the Enneagram doesn't put you in a box. It actually does the opposite. It can show you the box you've already been living in so that you can finally step out of it. I think doing this work in midlife is such a powerful time to do it. You have enough life behind you to actually see your patterns. You're not 22 and just figuring out who you are. You've lived, you've loved, you've bumped up against yourself enough times to know that something needs to shift, but you just might not know what yet. So the Enneagram can help you see the what. I discovered the Enneagram probably about 5 or so years ago, and I was intrigued from the very beginning. It gave me a window into why I do what I do. It described the fear underneath what I did and helped me see what I had been protecting myself from my entire life without having the language for it. And that was the moment that everything started to make sense. I began to understand why I respond the way I do in conflict, why I'd spent so many years trying to be what everyone else needed me to be, why certain relationships felt so draining and others felt like home, why I could work so hard and still feel like it was never enough. The Enneagram didn't tell me something new about myself. It gave me words to something that had always been true. I finally had the language to understand myself better. This has given me insight to live more intentionally instead of unconsciously. So this episode isn't about labeling yourself, but finding the language to understand yourself better. So let's talk about why this matters specifically in midlife. So here's a question I would love you to think about for a minute. What if the discomfort of midlife is actually your truest self trying to get your attention? Life starts shifting, roles begin to change, our kids are leaving, our career might start to look different, and all of the things that we have built our identity around get disrupted. We don't just feel sad or lost, we cope. We each cope in very specific, very predictable ways based on our type. Some of us overfunction. We get busier and we add more to our plates because being useful and productive feels safer than being uncertain. Some of us withdraw. We pull back from people and go quiet because connection feels risky when we don't know who we are. Some of us perform. We look fine on the outside because we post that curated version of ourselves that has a smile on our face in the pictures we share. Some of us people please our way through the transition. We try keeping everyone happy, except we struggle to make ourselves happy. These are coping strategies, not flaws in our character. The Enneagram helps you see which coping strategy is yours so that when you're in it, you can recognize it. And that recognition brings awareness that can create wanted and desired change. There's a concept in the Enneagram called integration and disintegration. Basically, the direction you move when you're growing versus when you're under stress. And what I find so hopeful and helpful is that stress has a pattern, and so does growth. You're not just randomly falling apart or losing it, and you're not just randomly getting better and growing. There are actual signposts. There are things that you can look for. The Enneagram can build awareness. Now, you cannot change what you cannot see, and the Enneagram can help you see. So, I want to give you some real tangible places to start or some next steps. First, take a typing test. The Enneagram Institute has a test at enneagraminstitute.com or truity.com. They have a free version that's a great starting point. There are a lot of great books out there too. Two of my favorites are The Road Back to You, An Enneagram Journey to Self-Discovery by Ian Morgan Cron and Suzanne Stabile, and The Wisdom of the Enneagram by Don Richard Risso and Russ Hudson. The second book also has a test inside of it that you can take. So I'll link all of those in the show notes. Once you've found your type, it's important not to just read the name and stop there. You want to read the full description and sit with that for a bit. It might even feel a little uncomfortable because it's shining a light on your shadows. But again, that awareness is where change can begin. And over the next few weeks, I'm going to be sharing a little bit more about the 9 types. Second, ask one brave question to yourself. What am I most afraid people will think of me? And then write it down and don't filter it. Because your honest answer to that question, even the thing you most don't want to be seen as, often points directly to your core fear. And your core fear is the heartbeat of your Enneagram type. And third, notice your go-to when life feels out of control. When things get hard, what do you lean towards? Do you get more controlling, more accommodating? Do you get busier or do you disappear? That pattern under pressure is one of the clearest windows into your type. You don't need a perfect score on a test. You just need to start paying attention. Now, I believe we were each made intentionally, not accidentally, not generically, but specifically, divinely. We each are born as children of God with specific wiring, specific sensitivities, specific longings. The Enneagram, for me, isn't a replacement for faith. It's actually a tool that deepens it. Because when I see my type clearly, which includes the fear, the pattern, the coping, I don't just see my humanity. I see my need, and this points me to His grace. Now, the Enneagram doesn't define you, but it can help you steward who you were made to be instead of spending your whole life running from it. So here's what I want to leave with you today. A couple of things. First off, there's no right number. We all have a little of the numbers in us. We just have one that we lean towards more. And midlife discovery is not a detour or self-indulgent or a crisis. It's an invitation to know yourself better. Really knowing and understanding yourself is one of the most loving things you can do for the people you love, because you can't give what you've never found in yourself. The Enneagram is one path into that knowing. It won't fix everything, but it will turn on a light. And sometimes that's exactly what we need. If you explore your type and something lands for you, I would love to hear about it. Find me on Instagram or shoot me a message. I genuinely love these conversations. And if you're in a season where conflict is the thing getting in the way of connection, either with yourself or with the people you love, I have a free resource for you. It's my 30-day Conflict to Connection challenge, and you can find it in the link in the show notes. 30 days, one small shift at a time. Over the next few months, I'm going to be sharing a little more about the Enneagram on the podcast. And again, I am not an expert, but I want to give you a peek into the insight that the Enneagram can offer. Thank you again for being here. Thank you for doing this work, and I'll see you next week.